Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, madam. Good evening. Good evening to all. Good evening to all.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to all.
Ma'am, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, Augustine. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir, madam available, sir. Professor Batma Sarangapani, ma'am.
Good evening, madam. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
How are you, madam?
I'm very glad to meet you, make your acquaintance. Yeah.
I'm very happy. We are all very happy to welcome you. Such a great person, highly respected person, good scientist. You are with us, spending your valuable time. We are very happy. With folded hands, we welcome you, ma'am.
No, you're very, very kind. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very honored.
Thank you, madam. And after the corona is over, please find some time to be with us, madam, to visit our university in Chennai.
Yes.
And we will have some programs on behalf of the university. We invite you, ma'am.
No, I will be very keen. I think some good collaboration with you will be very welcome.
Thank you, madam. We'll do it, madam.
How big is your university, sir? How many faculty do you have?
Madam, then actually you have to ask it is other way around how small it is.
Okay.
As far as the university is concerned, madam, it is only a 10 years, 12 years old university. Okay. And the building is 3-4 years old. And including the registrar and me, we are only 33 teachers. Okay. And supporting staff around 70 members are there. But we do the work of affiliating colleges of around 700 colleges.
Oh my, that's a very big number.
Throughout the state, more than 700 B.Ed and M.Ed degree programs, special education. Okay. These good institutions are there all over Tamil Nadu.
Right.
So the work we do, these less than 100 teaching and non-teaching friends, they do the volume of work of 700 colleges, examinations,
Oh my.
all work, starting from
What about,
examination, curriculum, everything.
but what
Yes.
about the diploma in education?
They actually, they are also there, but they are all coming under the government of Tamil Nadu directly,
Oh, okay. They are
not through our
getting-
university.
Okay. And do you also have students enrolled with you on your campus?
Yes, we have only recently we started 3 programs. One is Master of Education,
Okay.
another one is Master of Philosophy, MPhil, then PhD. This time we have admitted one unit 50 out of 50, and Dr. Shivasakti Madam and a team of teachers, they played major role talking about university. They attracted 400 applications.
Oh,
Out of
excellent.
400, they have admitted 50 students. Actually, credit goes to them.
Yes.
Uh,
Good to have a dynamic team.
yes, madam. Yes, madam. And you will be certainly motivating and blessing them. These 32 teachers, including our register, they have organized 1,100 online programs in 4 months, 5 months,
Oh my.
involving 12 countries, benefiting 200,000 participants to 2 lakh.
Oh my. Okay. Very,
And
very
this
big number.
Madam Dr. Sivasakti, she herself is organizing. This is maybe 102 or 3 or 5.
Okay.
109.
109. You see that I'm always wrong.
Dr. Panchanantam, this is Vinita here, and I have attended most of them. And I must congratulate you and your team for the excellent presentation. Out of the 100, I have attended more than 50 of them, and they were extremely nice. Thank you
madam.
so
Thank
much
you,
for
madam.
this. Thank you so much, because in the eastern part, we do not get such a lot of knowledge. So I keep waiting for Shiva Shakti ma'am to put it, and I am the first one to register. And
Thank
I
you,
bug
madam.
her when I don't get my certificate also. So
Yes.
we really enjoyed and learnt a lot. Thank you, and keep up the good work.
This is a very good motivation for us, madam. We will collaborate and do some more programs. We
Yes,
invite
please,
you.
please.
We invite you to our campus. But in all these programs, whatever good things are happening, my team members are responsible. Wherever some flaws are there, I take responsibility. We will correct it in future. And very
No, sir,
happy that
I
you have
have
been
not found a
associating.
single I have not found a Sir, I think I went on mute. I wanted to tell you that you are doing an excellent work. Please continue the good work. I was with you also on INSPA.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Pancharamaniyam, Professor Pancharamaniyam.
Yes,
my good
Pancharangan.
friend.
Yes, yes.
We
So
all
we have
work
heard
together,
you
madam.
speak there, and great salute to you.
Thank you, madam. It's a good motivation for us. Please do visit our university whenever you do come
Sure,
to
sir.
Chennai.
Sure, sir.
Otherwise, after
Sure, sir.
Corona, we will invite you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Professor Badma, madam, you have your director appointed long back, madam.
Yes, yes. After Parasuraman retired, last year Professor Shalini Bharat took over as director of the institute. So, very much.
We all respect your institute very much, madam. Not only we, all over country and abroad. The hard work, research, brand name for everything. We always respect all of you very much. Such a great institution, Tata Institute of Social Science.
It is an honor to be a member of the institute, sir. It is, and I have also personally benefited from the freedom given to all faculty and also the overall atmosphere of commitment for national goals, national development, and a lot of encouragement to collaborate and take initiatives forward from our
That
wings.
is it. That's what we need. Very nice.
Yes.
Sir, it's time. Shall we start? Start, sir.
Sir, sir, we can start, sir.
Yes, madam.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Shall I?
Yes. Yes,
Good
Augustine.
evening, everyone. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of organizers from TNTU, it's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to all of you to the national webinar.
Dear participants, please mute yourself. Please, all are mute yourself, please.
Opportunities and challenges organized by Center for Capacity Building Programs for School Teachers, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University. Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast. Now I request Dr. T. Shivashakti Rajamal, Assistant Professor, Department of Education Psychology, TNTU, and Organizing Secretary of this one-day national webinar to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Augustine. Very good evening to you all. Very good evening to the most respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, the most respected Registrar, the most respected Dean of Faculty, the most respected today's eminent resource person, Professor Batma M. Sarangabani ma'am, the most respected professors, respected associate professors, assistant professors, and respected non-teaching fraternities, respected organizing members, educators, research scholars, students, and well-wishers. Warm welcome to everyone. I take this opportunity to welcome and thank our chief guest and guest of honor, the patron, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Panjanathan Sir, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, Chennai. Every organization must be prepared to abandon everything it does to survive in the future, says Peter F. Drucker. My role as a leader is always to keep my people cheered up, optimistic, and ready to play full out in the face of change and challenge. This is the mantra of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Panjanathan, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, Chennai. Sir, your leadership and the guidance is the success of every professor of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University who take a lot of challenges to bring changes through various conferences and webinars during this pandemic. We are all really thankful to you, sir, for your encouragement, support, motivation, and guidance for making our programs a grand success, for rendering your precious time and blessings us with your esteemed presence. I welcome you, sir. I extend my gratitude to our co-patron, the most respected registrar, Professor V. Balakrishnan Sir, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, Chennai. Without your guidance and motivation, these programs would not have been possible, and we shall be eternally grateful to you, sir, for your valuable guidance and support. I welcome you, sir. I feel very honored and extend my warm welcome to the convener, Professor M. Govindan, Controller of Examinations, Dean of Faculty, Head of the Department of Educational Psychology, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, Chennai, for his valuable support and helped our team to reach the top and achieve the goal. I welcome you, sir. I feel very honored and extend my warm welcome to Professor S. Mani, Professor and Head, Department of Educational Planning and Administration, Director IQAC, Director Center for National and International Academic Contributions, Tamil Nadu Representative to SRC and CTE, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, Chennai. He is very kind and he is an able administrator and a good leader. He is identified for a successful contribution as a good developer of the students. He has a deep knowledge and passion for his subject matter. He has a good personality traits like communication, organization, focus on the students and a teaching ability. He always encourages minds to think. I welcome you wholeheartedly, sir. It is a great honor and an immense pleasure for me, and I am profusely overjoyed to welcome Professor Padma M. Sarangabani, Professor of Education, Chairperson, Center for Education, Innovation and Action Research, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, B.N. Pirvilla Margaret, Dioner, Mumbai. She is always bold in her thinking and determined in his actions, able to take risk and think creative about the future. She is an able to administrator and a good leader, as setting herself as a perfect example. She is very fond of loving books. She is very kind and very caring person. She likes to comfort in the best of her ability, and she is always super smart woman. She has a good experience and she is an inspiring teacher. She is a great communicator, positive outlook, courageous, humble, and great motivator, dedicated, determined, enthusiastic, and energetic women. Dear ma'am, I feel very happy for your presence, and on behalf of the organizing team, I welcome you, ma'am, with all my pleasant greetings. I heartily welcome to Dr. B. Subramanian, Assistant Professor, Department of Educational Planning and Administration, TNTU, and Mr. S. Balamurugan, Assistant Professor, Department of Educational Psychology, TNTU. Dr. S. Araki Elizabeth Josephine, Assistant Professor of Biology, SMCE, Chennai. Next, I welcome most respected professors, respected associate professors, respected assistant professors, and respected non-teaching fraternities, PhD scholars, MD students of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University. I welcome you all. I welcome all the organizing members of this webinar. Dr. Joseph Catherine, Principal SMCE Chennai, Dr. K. Mohan, Deputy Registrar, TNTU Chennai, Mr. K. S. Anbuchelvam, CEO, ExoCharm, Perangudi, Chennai, Mr. R. Tirupati, Block Educational Officer, Arimalam Union, Pudukkottai, Dr. K. Ratiswari, Assistant Professor, TNTU, Dr. T. Premalata, Assistant Professor, Bharathiar University, Dr. S. Vijayalakshmi, Alumnus, TNTU, Mr. S. Araki Sami, PhD Scholar, TNTU, Mr. J. T. Augustine Jabakumar, MD Scholar, TNTU. Last but not least, I extend our hearty welcome to wonderful participants who have done up in such a great numbers from various states across the country. I most welcome all the participants from different parts of our country. Once again, I welcome one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your warm welcome. We deeply honored by the presence of our patron of this webinar, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Panjanatham, sir, TNTU, a great man who inspires everyone to be perfect. It is my privilege to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor of TNTU to deliver the presidential address. Please.
Good evening to all. Am I audible, Sri Madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. If there is any problem, you tell me. I will switch
Okay,
off my
sir.
video.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Most respected and guest speaker of the day, Professor Dr. Padma Sarangapani Madam, Professor of Education, Chairperson, Center for Education, Innovation and Action Research, Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So we can speak more about her, but in Tamil we have a saying that பெயர் சொன்னால் போதும் தரம் விளங்கும், something for an advertisement I have seen, something like that. When we see this great personality from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, we need not talk about her caliber or her contributions, research, all those things. Such a great personality she has come. I join, all of us join Dr. Sivasakti Rajamal in welcoming our guest today for this wonderful program. Then we have Professor Mani, NCTE member, IQSC director, professor and head Department of Educational Planning and Administration, who is going to make inaugural address today. Then our respected officers like registrar, dean, FO, other non-teaching friends and teaching colleagues from Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University who are part of this organizing committee. Then Dr. Balamurugan is here, Dr. Subramaniam. They are all very dedicated teachers, researchers, and leaders in organizing various programs, organizing committee members, Mr. Agustin, who has been doing wonderful MC, very respected participants from various parts of this country, teachers, scholars, students. I say a very warm good evening to all of you. And happy on behalf of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, we convey very happy Diwali greetings to all of you. Happy Diwali and safe Diwali. We pray to God to bless you with all happiness. With this note, when Professor Badma Madam is going to address, we do not have anything much to speak on that except listening to her. However, one or two points like morning I was sharing with the other set of people. India's population is 17.7% of the global population. Out of global population, total population, India's population is 17.7%. Unfortunately, only 4% of people contribute towards research, particularly publication. Whereas 17.7% proportionate representation is not there. That is the reason, thanks to Honorable Government of India and the state, Honorable State Government, through this NEP, National Education Policy, they want to enhance the quality of research so that good teaching will be possible. Teaching and research, two sides of a coin. Unfortunately, not only in these publications, but also in patent also if you take, though we have the population of 17.7% of global population, only 0.3% of patents. For example, this year 100 patents are granted all over the world, only 0.3 is from India. So that is the reason Honorable Government of India has brought this wonderful new education policy or National Education Policy 2020 from school education to university educations. Lot of reforms should be done so that quality matters. Then only India can be number one or second to none in the world. To bring out that, Honorable Government of India has done that. We all sincerely thank. Many good points are there. Particularly if we talk about teacher education, good teaching alone can make good citizens. Only then knowledge economy will be possible. All human beings should be converted into human resources, for which the teachers should be encouraged. They say decent and pleasant service conditions will be ensued at the schools, starting from schools. Mata Pita, Guru Devam. Teachers will be given continuous opportunities for self-improvement. Outstanding teachers will be recognized and rewarded appropriately. Very importantly, they say that 4 years integrated B.Ed programs with high quality content will be in place at the earliest. These programs will be part of university systems in the multidisciplinary environment. This is how there are many suggestions by Government of India through this National Education Policy, ultimately to convert 1.38 billion people, human being, into human resources, so that they earn good money for themselves, for their family, and for the country. So we become number one country in the world in all aspects. It may be it may be H index of research, or patent, or happiness index, or human index, whatever you take, everywhere we have to progress, because in some countries, if you touch petrol comes, if you touch gold comes, but in our country we have only people. These people should be converted into human beings, should be converted into human resources, for which one of the important parameters is providing quality education, for which national education policy has given lot of provisions, Of course, through organizing these type of programs, we can get enlightened. Repeatedly, we get reinforcement on that. Same NEP program we can attend 100 times unless we get 100% reinforced, so that we go to field and see that we are able to provide good quality education to our own citizens. In that way, I congratulate organizers, Dr. Sivasakti Madam, Dr. Mani Sir, Dr. Balamurugan, big number, very list of people, Joseph Catherine Madam, Dr. Mohan, many members are there. All of them to the, in Tamil we have a proverb, Ur Kudi Ter Irupadu. That means we all should do it together. We all should do it together. Teamwork is always a strength. In that way, our university, I am very happy to again say, informally, I told before the meeting was commenced, formally I am telling these 32 teachers of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University in this lockdown, during this lockdown period of 4, 5, 6 months, they have organized more than 1,100 webinars, seminars, 1 week program, conferences, online conferences, everything. Congratulations to them, their hard work, benefiting 200,000 participants from India and 12 more countries. India and 12 more. In many webinars, honorable ministers have addressed, honorable vice chancellors have addressed, great professors have addressed from various institutions. And from great institutions from Singapore, Malaysia, Germany, all over the world, more than from 12 countries, great people have addressed. In that way, more than 1,100 programs, our 32 teachers of this great university have organized exclusively. Madam Sivasakti Madam has organized more than 100. This is her 109th program. We all congratulate you, Madam. Keep contributing, keep leading, and until our country becomes number one country in the world, for which all of us should contribute. With this note, once again, I sincerely welcome all of you. At the same time, I request all of you to visit Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University located at Chennai. After Corona, we all will have a lot of face-to-face programs. I request you to all the participants, respected participants, students, teachers, scholars, you are more important, and you are giving your valuable time in getting, in enhancing your knowledge base. People used to say, I used to repeat in every meeting, stop learning, stop teaching. Stop learning, stop doing research. So for a good teacher, learning is a continuous process. We know Honorable Abdul Kalam ji, even during this last minute also, he was with the students in the teaching environment. So for which these platforms are giving very good opportunity. So I appreciate respected participants of this webinar for joining in this program. We will collaborate, we will organize more number of such programs. With this note, once again, I convey on Happy Diwali to all of you on behalf of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, and on behalf of participants, guests, everybody, I convey congratulations to organizing team for making all of us to meet through this particular platform. God bless all. Stay safe. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Best wishes.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your insightful thoughts. I thank you, sir, for your words of appreciation, and we are so happy to have you here. And we feel so happy that you're giving us and motivating us to organize these kinds of programs. Thank you, sir. The fragrance of flowers spread only in the direction of the wind, but the goodness of a person spread in all directions. I am very delighted to welcome Professor S. Mani, Professor and Head, Department of Educational Planning and Administration, TNTU, Director, Center for National and International Academic Collaborations, and Director IQAC, Tamil Nadu Representative SRC NCTE to deliver the inaugural address. Sir, please.
Thank you, my dear student. Thank you very much. A very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank our most honorable Vice Chancellor, who has been kind enough to help us in getting ourselves to be promoted in various activities by conducting so many seminars, webinars, and other academic activities for the past more than 1 year, nearly 1 year. Sir, I really feel uh, that you have a very different kind of energy which you are supposed to share to us. We are not able to identify where you are exactly keeping it because we have been very seriously observing, very keenly observing, but we are not able to see the amount of energy that where you are really getting in your body or in your mind or where you are exactly getting it. So I entirely you have been doing a lot of work for our universities improvement and development. And as I rightly put it this morning, you are a great taskmaster of making the people to get the things done what you exactly think in your mind, but without saying directly to everybody, but you are doing it very silently and making a very silent revolution in our university. So thank you for encouraging us for involving ourselves in such kind of activities. Thank you very much, sir. And I really salute you, sir, for this wonderful program being initially motivated and initiated by you, sir. Thank you, sir. I am also very thankful and express my sincere gratitude to the guest of honor today, who is going to deliver a very wonderful, lecture on the new education policy of 2020. And I'm also very happy to uh, salute to all the great people who have been contributing either directly or indirectly, right, starting from Dr. Sivasakti Rajamal and her team, as well as the other professors, teachers, and non-teaching staff members, as well my most beloved emerged scholars who have been very seriously involved in such kind of activities. Thank you very much. And I am having the privilege of just speaking a few minutes with regard to the new education policy uh, as the guest for inaugural. But I do not know whether I will be able to do my justice. But let me just try to point out a few things with regard to the new education policy of 2020. See, at the outset, I would like to say that after a long time in our country, especially after 1986 new education policy, of course, after the revision of the new education policy in 1992, we never had an opportunity of getting the entire system of education in our country being repaired or restructured. But fortunately, we had an opportunity to have a new education policy in the name of New Education Policy 2020. This policy has been introduced very recently by the Ministry of Education, Government of India, as a welcome move for the development of our country. And this new education policy is emphasizing on so many aspects. And altogether, if you ask me, let me put it that it is greatly emphasizing on holistic, multidisciplinary education for the future of our nation's stakeholders. There are many important features of the national education policy can be listed out. And let me just point out a few important aspects with regard to the new education policy of 2020. The policy is very much emphasizing on self-reliance of India. The most and first objective of the new education policy is to devise and implement a robust solution to its own problems that are in harmony with the different programs and initiatives of government of India, such as Make in India, Skill India, Startup India, and the latest one of Atmanirbhar India, and so on forth. If you look at back these schemes, we will find these schemes were initiated in phased manner since 2014, but with a common goal that is to be promoted in terms of entrepreneurship over job. So, with regard to the most important aspect that is highlighting in the educational policy under section 3, 4, and 7 of school education, along with 10.8 article of National Education Policy document, skill education is given prime importance in schools and in higher education institutions. It is to be induced at school level from preschool to the class 12th and 8th to empower each and every student in vocational skills, at least in one vocational skills. Continuing the same concept at a higher education level to increase the grassroots ratio in higher education, including vocational education from 26.3% to 50% at least by 2035. To implement it, a kind of a regulator body, a national committee for integration of vocational education is being suggested to give an effect to this kind of aspects to be carried out in our country. The another important aspects which I would like to touch upon is the sustainable development goals. As the United Nations defined the 17 sustainable development goals with the SDG 4 as primarily education as well as a defined tool in 2015. Article 7.12 talks of constituting Samajik Chetana Kendra that will include activities for society and provide a social cohesive environment at schools. Article 10.6 and 10.3 also talks of the crucial responsibilities of higher education institutions to the community engagement, support for school system, as well as value-based education and environmental education more particularly. The holistic development of an individual is very much is aimed through this kind of a positive and inclusive education from school education to the higher education level in our country. It is further equated to global citizens education, a response to contemporary global challenges, understand global challenges and solve the problems. The intention is to prepare the students think and adopt eco-friendly lifestyles since the primary level of education to higher education. The third important aspects which I would like to refer here is that the new education policy is trying to help the economy to get a great boost. So education is considered as a great economy booster. So therefore, the section of 17 of National Education Policy stresses upon knowledge economy in terms of promoting cultural heritage, increasing the general enrollment ratio in higher education, aspiring more and more youth to continue their higher education, creating a pool of talented and skilled youth community who wish to build the nation and boost the national economy, imbibing the relevant technology and the solutions, more particularly the digital technology to empower the higher education institutions. The GDP of 60% to be invested for achieving these goals to give effect for this policy to be effectively implemented. Since the knowledge economy is interrelated to society, this brings a multitudes of socio-economic improvements in our country. Stress on vocational studies and support through funding, incubation, and centers reinforce boosting economy through entrepreneurship. The another important salient feature which we can easily identify from this new education policy of 2020 is that first time in our country, though we have read in many papers, in many books, that the concept of internalization of education, but there is a stress is given by the new education policy of 2020 on internationalizing the higher education. So internationalization of higher education is insisted particularly by this new education policy. It targets on creating India as a knowledge hub to attract foreign nationals and to promote research collaboration. Just a few minutes ago, our Honorable Vice Chancellor was also talking about the research and its contribution for the global development. So, to promote research collaboration and student exchanges between Indian institutions and other world institutions through an organized efforts. So it will be a definitely a great boost as well as a boon for international business relations in not only education but in support services and other sectors. Also, as the phased out students who have become more aware with Indian culture, socio-economic diversity, trade regulations, industry sense, and many more aspects for an exchange between Indian culture and that of the other culture. The another important feature which we can come across in the new education policy is making the classroom totally into a different classroom in terms of digitalizing the pedagogy and the classroom. The initiative of Digital India and current crisis of pandemic particularly is really a great witness for this particular effort taken by the government of India in the new education policy. So the initiative of Digital India and current crisis of pandemic has been the motivating behind and need a creation of digital libraries, digital content, digital pedagogy, and digital classroom, online teaching, and online sharing of information and whatnot to different in different languages through this new education policy. Section 23 and 24 of the new education policy throws lights on the integrating technology through a dedicated unit of planning and development of digital infrastructure, digital content, and capacity building of institutions in technology to look after the e-education needs of both school and higher education institutions in our country so that not only the learners are empowered but also the entire country is also empowered by creating empowered generation in our country, and ultimately it causes a new knowledge economy for our nation. To implement this particular aspect, the government of India has planned to institute a regulatory body which is considered to be an autonomous body in the name of the National Education Technology Forum to provide a platform to facilitate decision making on the induction, deployment, and use of technology, as well as other opportunity to consult and share the best practices in digital education. So the another most important aspect which is also to be underlined in the new education policy is that a layered accredited system, a new layered accreditation system for on-campus and for online distance learning infrastructure for quality degree granting institutions and universities, autonomy to faculty and institutes defines in the new education policy for the 21st century of India. The layered accreditation system will certainly differentiate between a degree granting standalone institution and a wholesome university. Affiliation system is also going to be completely revamped, restructured by this new education policy. The affiliation system used to be stopped and teaching and research forms two major activities in an institution. Accreditation should be also to set standards in quality of an infrastructure, faculty, technology, and the enrollment ratio, research facilities, etc. And the most important aspect that I would like to touch upon with regard to the new education policy is that there are several initiatives that are introduced specifically for training of teachers in schools and higher education. And of course, our university is a teacher education, the first teacher education university in the country. And we do need to take a note of all these very important recommendations and suggestions given by the new education policy. The most important one is to train them in digital technology with the help of nationwide agencies and centers in each and every district of the country. It also mentions higher remuneration for the teachers to attract the best talents to the industry of teaching. The main other development is introducing courses in education, namely the 4-year integrated program, which is a very welcoming one in the entire nation and making it a very essential component of the program to be implemented effectively in the futures in our country, particularly uh, making the program to be uniformly followed all over the country. And a good research is also being highlighted upon. Quality research is also being very much thrusted upon this new education policy, particularly on teacher education. So there are many other important features are also there to talk about the new education policy. However, I would like to conclude that it is a great opportunity for all of us not only to learn the very important highlights of new education policy of 2020, but also to make ourselves aware, but also to effectively involve ourselves in the implementation process of the new education policy for the better future of the generation, the society, and the country, and make our India as a very important, powerful country to compete with, to edge over with the other countries of the world. I once again express my sincere thanks and gratitude to the organizers and to all the other good heart who have been with us for the past few minutes and also going to be with us maybe in another few minutes for our program. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. So much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and giving us a good knowledge about new education policy. We are indeed privileged to have an eminent person, our chief guest today. May I kindly request Mr. S. Balamurugan, Assistant Professor TNTU, to welcome and introduce our guest of honor.
Thank you very much. Very good evening to one and all. It gives me great pleasure. Really, I feel myself privileged and honored by introducing such a great scholar, good personality, multifaceted figure, a good educationist, philanthropist, and academician who is none other than Professor Batma M. Sarangabani, Professor of Education and Chairperson Center for Education, Innovation, and Arts and Research from the reputed institution of Tata Institute of Social Sciences. She got education from her UG. He did BSc triple major, Maths, Physics, Chemistry in Osmania University, Hyderabad. She was the gold medalist for mathematics, scoring 100% marks. So such a great scholar, and did her MSc Physics in IIT Chennai, Indian Institute of Technology from Chennai, and MPhil in Education did University of Delhi, and did PhD in Education from University of Delhi in the year 1998. She was a wonderful person and wonderful achiever. He has a lot of credits. Her achievement in her career, mainly she has more than 30 years of experience as a teacher in study and research. He won a lot of awards as well as awarded many prizes, honored with awards, fellowship, and special assignments. In the year 2019, he awarded Open Education Consortium Award for Open Education Research Collaboration for CLIX project as a project leader. In the year 2018, UNESCO King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa Prize for the use of ICT in education for connecting learning initiative, for being a project leader working in Tata Institute of Social Sciences. In the year 2016-17, in January 26, she was jury member of the UNESCO Hampton Award, and 2014-15, she was awarded with Commonwealth Academic Fellowship for the Center of International Education, University of Sussex, United Kingdom, 2019-20. She was awarded Indira Gandhi Memorial Fellowship, Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, New Delhi, for study of indigenous knowledge transmission of the PICA. 1993 and 94, she awarded full pre-doctoral fellowship and the Dudley Wright Fellowship, Tufts University. In 1986, she has already told that she was the gold medalist for his achievement in mathematics. She started as a teacher, as his career in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Jubilee Hills, Hyderabad in the year 1888-89. Then he shifted to as lecturer in the Jury and Mary College, New Delhi, in the year 1994 to 97, where he led the team teaching in the first B.Ed program at the University of Delhi. She was the member in the designing of the curriculum between 1991 and 93. And the and next he shifted to as a visiting fellow in the National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bangalore, and visiting associate fellow, National Institute of Advanced Studies in Bangalore. And now she is the professor, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, till date from 2008 to till date, and now she is holding another responsibility as chairperson, Center for Education, Innovation and Arts and Research, July 2015 onwards, and he led Connected Learning Initiative and Center for Excellence in Teacher Education. And she has a lot of role, as he played a lot of role, and he is holding also a lot of roles as professional work, membership of committees, board of government, and other professional bodies like Siva. She was the expert to the Teacher Task Force, the TTTF, UNESCO 2017 onwards, and she was the chairperson, Niti Ayog Working Group on Secondary Education, September 2017, and she has been the member of NIAS Council, that is National Institute of Advanced Studies, in 2016 onwards, and
Sir,
she was
I
the
hate to
advisor.
interrupt, but
She was the
please don't
advisor,
read out my whole CV. Your introduction is
advisor of
very
education
kind
to
and
the
very
Tata
detailed.
Trust, and I
Yes,
think
please. Yeah.
she has published in the last 10 years more than 15 journals and research articles in reputed international, national reputed journals of repute. And she has done a lot of work. Her contribution to the education, especially teacher education and the school education, has contributed a lot. Definitely today, this program, for this hour we are going to listen to her, is very eye-opening to all of us as well as a budding leader. She set herself exemplary to all the budding teachers, including me, for setting herself as an achiever. So in that way, today's program, she's going to give a wonderful talk. It's my pleasure and honor. Once again, I welcome and I introducing the great scholar, Dr. Batma Sarangapani, on behalf of myself and the team and the university. I thank you, ma'am. Thank you for so much for being with us, and thanks for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind words. Before I start, I would just like to ask Shivak Shakti, madam, how much time can I actually engage, ma'am?
1 hour, 1 hour.
Because one, but I'm actually scheduled to be in another meeting at 5:30.
Okay,
So
no, no.
yeah, so if
Okay, ma'am.
you must please excuse me.
Okay, ma'am. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to share a presentation simply to aid me in this talk. So let me also bring that window up. But yeah, I hope it is visible. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you very much, Professor Panchanatham, Professor Mani, for your detailed elaboration of the NEP, Dr. Shivashakti Rajammal. Thank you all for your very kind invitation today. And I know it is Dr. Vijay Kumar Venciti who enabled us to be in touch with each other. So I'm grateful to him. Thank you, Mr. Balmurugan, for your very kind introduction. This is a time in which COVID has really accelerated most aspects of our life. There's this flurry of tech-based webinars into which we are all pulled, flurry of meetings which we may not have attended otherwise, teaching and other activities, keeping us busy with business as usual. But at the same time, there's also the anxiety that we need to make a good job of doing things in this technology medium. So I'm very well aware that the COVID crisis has really put us into this situation in which we're using technology so extensively for our interactions. But at the same time, I'm also very grateful because it's given me an opportunity to connect with all of you and to share some of my reflections and also some of the work that we have been doing at the Center for Excellence in Teacher Education at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences. As Professor Mani was describing the NEP in such detail, I had this vision of the hopes and the aspirations that the NEP represents. It's a little bit of a fantasy also. And I think it is the job of people like us to really be critical, to ground ourselves, and to figure out what aspects of the NEP we need to take forward and how. And in this talk, I'm just going to select a few aspects of the NEP for more thinking. I want to just, I've kind of divided my talk into four parts. A little bit, I want to begin by reflecting on what is COVID teaching us about the nature of the teaching profession itself. What are we learning about teaching because of the situation in which COVID has put us? After that, I want to pick up one or two ideas regarding initial teacher education that the NEP proposes. Then, if I have time, I will spend a little time on the in-service teacher education, on the use of ICT, and the NEP's own recommendations regarding school complexes. And after that, I want to spend a little time on the implications of the NEP for regulation and raising standards in the sector. And I think as members of the professional community involved with the practice of teacher education, I hope that I will be able to raise some issues which might be of interest and concern to us as practitioners of academia. I hope I'm audible to everybody. And if
Yes,
at any
ma'am.
point,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am. Yes.
yes. I also hope that the presentation is visible. Can you
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
Yes,
me?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So I don't have many slides. These are just slides to enable you to latch on to the key ideas of the of the presentation itself. So I want to begin by reflecting a little bit on what has COVID taught us. Many of us as teachers have now overcome our inhibitions regarding the use of technology and technology mediated interfaces to organize pedagogy and to deliver programs. And we are now more comfortable and confident about using online teaching and learning management systems to organize course materials. And we're also exploring how to make the medium more interactive and engaging for our students and for ourselves. We're also discovering that that taken for granted aspects of the teaching environment are so important. They enable us to constitute our teaching acts, to elicit attention, hold students' attention, motivation, and engagement. Things like being located physically together in a classroom, corridors around the classroom in where we bump into colleagues and to students to just exchange ideas, to draw each other's attention to things, to fix up a meeting, to plan a one on one meeting with a student. All these small little everyday conversations really enable the activities of education to take place, to get negotiated and to achieve. Things like timetables enable us to structure our time and call us to attention. And the blackboard. I really miss many of these things, uh, which we have lost because of the technology-based interface that we are relying on in COVID times. No more classrooms to get together and physically feel each other's presence, enable us to pick up all those tacit communications of gestures and expressions through which we make out how others are responding to what we are saying and modulate our own teaching. And the blackboard in which we put up things that we commonly attend to. These are all the small little aspects, tacit aspects of education, which in the current situation we have lost. And it has brought our attention to the fact that the institutional side of education is so important. It has also drawn our attention to the fact that pedagogy is not simply delivery of content. It's a layered activity. And interactivity with students is very important to develop engagement and hold the experience together and achieve the valuable outcomes that education needs to achieve for students. It draws our attention to the importance of the person of the teacher and their own preparation and the belongingness of a teacher in a professional community in order to enable us to respond to needs of students. Um, These experiences, most of us are forming in the space of higher education, but you can imagine how much true it is for the space of school education. If anything, the COVID experience has taught us of the centrality of the person of the teacher and the person of the student and the institutional site where teaching and learning takes place. It has made us aware that teaching and learning is much more than content delivery. And this has really emerged very decisively in this COVID period. In fact, in many seminars, I think we've begun to notice that one thing that COVID has communicated to even the general public is that teaching is not an easy task. And the work of a teacher is actually quite complex. Many parents are discovering that the profession of teaching needs to be taken much more seriously than we do as a society. And it has also taught us that as teachers, we need to be adaptive and resourceful in order to be able to respond to unexpected situations that life throws up for ourselves and for our students. So I think, although it has made the work of teaching so much more difficult, it has taught us really what teaching is all about. And it has exposed both the potential and the limits of technology media in the process of teaching and learning. I think one thing I have decisively learned through this experience is that yes, technology can enable us to achieve things, but it can never become a substitute for the face-to-face interaction that we experience in classroom for holistic education to take place. So, with these preliminary remarks about what we have learned from teaching, about the importance of the teaching profession, let me spend a little bit of time on initial pre-service or pre-service teacher education in relation to the national education policy. I want to start by thinking a little bit about how initial teacher education entered into the university in the first place. In fact, this was the section of the NEP that I read first because there are so many aspects in initial teacher education which are crucial for the sector's revival and continued relevance. In fact, I fear if we continue as we're doing today, very soon the sector will become irrelevant to the Indian society. And if we don't take the NEP seriously on the matter of recommendations in initial teacher education, we're really burying ourselves in a grave that has already been dug for teacher education as a professional practice. Let's stand back and reflect on teacher education as a body of knowledge and its presence and growth in the university. Commentators of education as a discipline have noted that education owes its origin and its presence in the university to the activity of teacher preparation. In fact, more specifically, to the activity of secondary teacher education. This became a part of the university at the turn of the last century, that means around 1900s. Really because many educationists felt that secondary school teachers need to be prepared in the university where the subject disciplines are taught. And the proximity to the disciplines of other subjects was regarded as the most important thing for teacher preparation. So you will see that core educational knowledge was not the reason why secondary teacher education became a part of the university. It was really because of the proximity to other disciplines that education entered into the university. So some people, some historians of education remark that education entered into the university where people were not looking and not observant. But having entered into the university, over the last 150 years, a knowledge which is more specifically identifiable as educational knowledge has begun to develop. And it is only in the last 30 years, I would argue, that our own disciplinary knowledge of teacher education has truly undergone change. And it has been shaped in the last 30 years. The, so, one of the important implications of secondary education being in the space of the university was that the preparation of primary school teachers was left outside the university. It was treated as a vocational subject, not needing rigorous disciplinary content knowledge. in any case, even for secondary education, educational knowledge was not regarded as a rigorous area, and a lot of common sense used to be taught in the name of educational knowledge. But primary school teaching, in fact, takes place even today outside the space of the university, and it has much closer connect with the occupation rather than with the discipline of education. This separation has had a long term impact on teacher education, as well as university based research to inform the content and approach of preparation of primary school teachers. In fact, discussing with Professor Panchanathan just before the session began, I learned that even today in Tamil Nadu, although there is a Tamil Nadu University for Teacher Education, the preparation of primary school teachers and elementary school teachers continues to remain outside even the Tamil Nadu University of Teacher Education, and it remains with the government as the provider of schooling. This separation of primary school teaching from the space of the university being placed in departments of education has had long-term impact on both the knowledge base of primary school teachers as well as the status of the profession itself. To date, in fact, there are only 3 programs that have addressed this structural anomaly. The first is the BLEd program of Delhi University, which is a university-based program for the training of elementary school teachers. The second is special education programs, where really special education teachers are primary school teachers, but they are trained in the space of the university. And the third is the proposal of the NEP for the 4-year integrated teacher education program, which actually is still an idea. It has not yet been implemented anywhere. Yeah. But even, even though there are such few places where this new model has been tried out, the impact of bringing primary school teaching into the space of the university is already noticeable. Already, we can see the benefits of university trained primary school teachers in the development of new textbooks, in their ability to conduct foundational learning and teaching, and graduating with higher education degrees so they themselves come back to become teacher educators in institutes for the preparation of of teachers. So this kind of structural transformation, when we bring primary school teaching training into the space of the university, has very, very important consequences for the profession. Please just give me a minute. Yeah. Yeah. Now, along with this, the NEP is definitely calling for primary school teaching to become a part of the university system. And this is a very, very important change. And I think as members of the teacher education community, we should be thinking deeply about both the importance of bringing this into the space of the university, as well as the long-term benefits that this will have for the profession if we succeed in doing this with the spirit that the NEP intends. Being a part of the undergraduate program of the university has meant that a lot of contemporary debates about teacher preparation and aims of teacher education have impacted on the preparation of primary and elementary school teachers. The curriculum and the reading lists are much more up to date, drawing on theories that address foundational literacy, foundational numeracy, as well as inclusive education much more meaningfully. Longer time to be prepared in the space of the university also gives longer exposure to school contexts and classroom contexts, preparing student teachers with greater understanding of school realities. And many innovations, such as visits and interactions with NGO run centers, orient them to the pedagogical possibilities as well as grounding student teachers in strong ethical frameworks along with optimism about what good teaching can achieve. Several of these changes were actually proposed in teacher education curriculum revision of the NCFT 2009. But with primary teacher education still remaining with SCRTs and under boards of secondary education, the extent to which such changes have percolated into primary teacher preparation is still very, very limited. To some extent, it has happened in states like Chhattisgarh or Karnataka with a lot of NGO and university involvement. Otherwise, the 2-year diploma continues to be a very traditional curriculum with commonsensical maximums masquerading as educational theories and very thin pedagogical methods. And this is really a limitation of the 2-year model, which is under governments or departments of education and boards of secondary education, instead of elementary teacher education becoming a part of the university. Yeah. It's not surprising, therefore, that even after so many years of 30 years of DPP, even today the NEP is talking about foundational learning, because we've really not achieved a fundamental change in the preparation of primary school teachers to uh, address the issues of emergent literacy and emergent numeracy, which are core considerations and core work of a primary school teacher. Having made this argument, I want to just shift a little bit on this context of higher education and multidisciplinarity and why that is so important in teacher formation. Yeah. You see, the most important thing which is achieved in any teacher education program, along with the acquisition of skills, knowledge, and understanding, is the formation of professional identity. This is very, very core and central work that takes place during initial teacher preparation. And when we take this in the space of the 2-year diploma, this professional identity gets limited to the occupational identity of the school. However, when we shift teacher preparation into the space of the university, the liberal educational idea dominates professional formation. This is really very, very important, because elementary school teachers need to have critical political awareness about the aims of education, both in relation to personal aims as well as social aims. They also need to have a critical understanding of social justice aims of education. And these are really acquired in undergraduate education, which takes place in the university when students become a part of the larger polity. This kind of political socialization and political agency is very essential for teacher formation. And it enables teachers to realize how pedagogical work is really important social action. Currently, we don't have this opportunity when we prepare primary school teachers. We have excessive domination of the occupational niche that teachers are expected to occupy. And please do note that when I'm using this word political, I don't mean narrow party politics. I mean a kind of an awareness of citizenship in a political sense. You know, the way in which the NCF 2005 redefined civics education as political education. In that sense, all of us as Indians need to have critical political awareness about how important teachers' work is for the formation of future citizens. And that is the kind of understanding that elementary school teachers also need. And this kind of understanding best takes place in the space of the university. So I would say that it is not only desirable, but it's also very essential in a democracy to prepare teachers in the space of the university, where they understand why education is a fundamental right and why the social justice questions are so important as so part of the social aims of education. And this is really what will make teachers holistic and complete, and not just prepare them to fit into little boxes in schools to perform and dance at the wheels of school managements. The NEP is recommending that all teacher education takes place within higher education. This is a structural shift into higher education, and it is crucially important both for the profession as well as for democracy. NEP is also recommending that this education takes place in multidisciplinary environments of the university, because it will have implications for the profession as a whole. I know that in the past also many of us have spoken about the 4-year program, and many teacher educators used to argue, you know, that like law has reinvented itself as a profession and its social status has improved by the launch of these 4-year programs. Same way teacher education will reinvent itself by adopting the 4-year program. I would say that our profession has to do much more than what law was able to do. We have to recognize that the current status of our profession is quite low. The profession of teaching is quite low. And we will have to work on many fronts to achieve an improvement in the status of the profession. Being a part of the university is a part of it, but as a community, educating teachers, we will also have to be very active to ensure that teachers receive fair wages going forward and that employment conditions are good. And that finally, primary school teachers are paid as equally as secondary school teachers. I think we will have to do all these kinds of things to truly achieve the revision of status of the profession. Um, Needless to say, this 4-year teacher education program in multidisciplinary environments has implications for universities such as the Tamil Nadu Teacher Education University, which is right now a monodiscipline university. It also has implications for what is done in diets and bites. And we will have to, as a community, not only commit ourselves to developing true multidisciplinarity in our institutions, but also figure out how we're going to achieve these transformations in the places where we do teacher education. We have to break out of the unidisciplinary silo and confidently integrate with other disciplines for holistic development of our own students. Some of the work that we have been doing at the Tata Institute, towards strengthening of initial teacher education, we've actually recently launched a lot of faculty development for faculty of teacher education institutions. We're working on new materials, new textbooks, and open education resources that can be used. And also, as a response to COVID, we have launched on our own TISEX website curated resources which can be used by teacher educators across the country. These are small steps that we have taken to strengthen initial teacher education. But I think as a community, we will have to do a lot more to achieve this transformation of the profession. I want to make a few observations about continuous professional development in service, the cluster and the block resource centers and school complexes, which are a second area on which the NEP has something important to say in terms of transformation of the sector. We all know that the diets were created as a part of the direct consequence of our last new education policy. In fact, I think of the diets as being one of the most important phases of institution building in teacher education in India. It is unprecedented, the amount of funding and resources that are committed to developing institutions where teacher education will take place. Not simply floating programs that has happened in the case of DPP, SSA, and RMSA. Developing institutions where in-service, pre-service, and research would take place was the vision of the diets. But we all know what happened to the diets. Not only were they neglected systematically when the new centrally sponsored schemes came about, the DPP, the SSA, and the RMSA, but when the block and the cluster resource centers structures were created, the diets were simply left out of all this work. They languished, never getting integrated into the state's vision for its transformation of initial pre-service teacher education, shifting the entire focus onto in-service teacher education. And I think all of us, many of us know the long-term impacts that it has had in terms of neglect of pre-service teacher education. Unfortunately, it's not just neglect of in-service teacher education, but we also know that very soon teachers have become tired of the continuous in-service teacher education, which has neither linked to professional mobility of teachers, neither has it linked into any kind of rationalization of the approaches by which we give teachers in-service teacher professional development. As a sector, in-service teacher professional development has taken a deficit model towards a teacher. That is, whenever we look at the school teacher, we are always thinking, what are the gaps? And how shall we use in-service to fill the gaps? So even today, when technology is being talked about, the only thing that we hear is the teacher doesn't have technology skills, so let us give them technology skills. So this deficit approach to in-service teacher education has really dominated the sector, and in my view, it has done great disservice to the profession of teaching. Teachers, in fact, feel frustrated when all teachers are treated alike, right? From experienced teachers with 20 years of teaching experience to a fresher teacher with 1 year of teaching experience, everybody is herded into the same in-service teacher education program, going through the same kind of training without recognizing that different teachers at different points in their career trajectories have very different kinds of needs as far as teacher education is concerned. And therefore, we should have a very differentiated approach to how we address teachers in service teacher education needs. So, in other words, the in service structures of the country really have to grow up. And we have to recognize professional complexity. We have to tie in service professional development to opportunities of career mobility of teachers and new roles that teachers will occupy. And when we think of technology use, I think it's not simply about addressing gaps in teachers' capacity, but rather we should use technology to build professional communities of practice where teachers as peers can interact with each other and use technology, learn from each other's experience, and along with experts on how to use technology meaningfully. So these are some of the things that we should be thinking about as a community in terms of in-service teacher professional development. At my center, you already heard that we have won some accolades, international accolades for our work on use of ICT. In our work with use of ICT, we have focused on building communities of practice using mobile phones. And we ourselves are members of these communities. It's not like we are in some other community as experts and the teachers are some other community, and there's a top-down approach of how we give gyan to teachers. No, we have to become members of a community and grow the discourse of a community together. And I think these are some of the important learnings about the nature of professional development that we need to implement in our practice. International research and theorizing is telling us that professional learning is social. That means we learn in the company of peers. We don't simply learn from experts. So the way we approach professional development itself has to change. Some of the other kinds of work that we're doing at the center, which might interest many of you, is that we are also strengthening diets to help them establish teacher resource centers through which we can support local teachers. This model is extremely successful. I was closely associated with the resource center of Diet Chamrajnagar, and I am amazed to say that even 15 years after we um, in, in, set up this resource center in the Diet, it continues to be relevant to the local teachers. Every Diet needs to have a vibrant teacher resource center which serves the needs of the local teachers. We have also at the center, as I mentioned earlier, set up TISEX as a forum which provides open educational resources in Indian languages to teacher educators and to student teachers. And I hope after this talk, many of you will log into www.tisex.edu and see the kinds of resources that we have there, which are free for you to use with your own teachers. I think it will be relevant, especially in COVID times when we are not able to meet our students in our classrooms. Finally, I want to make a few observations about the whole question of regulation and standards in the professional sector. All of us know that the NEP has radical recommendations regarding regulation. In addition to shifting teacher education into higher education, it is also recommending that the teacher education sector be regulated by UGC as the regulator, and the NCTE transform itself to set professional standards. So this is really something important for us to think about. I think all of us are well aware about the negative effects of uh, about the ineffectiveness of NCTE itself. I mean, the years and years of corruption in the sector and the inability of NEP to the NCTE to actually curb this corruption. In fact, many of us have had direct experience of this kind of corruption in the sector. But in my view, it is not only the inability of NEP, of the NCT to curb the corruption, it has also allowed for the sector to be non-innovative and to be satisfied with poor quality and satisfied with status quo. The conditions of regulation make it impossible for us to actually do something different and do something new. And most well capable institutes don't even want to touch teacher education with a barge pole, saying the sector is so corrupted that our own vision of how teachers should be produced can never be realized with this kind of regulatory stranglehold on the sector. All of us also know that NCT and RCI don't even talk to each other, even though everywhere in the world, people are speaking about the importance of inclusive education in schools and not two different streams called special education and regular education. So this kind of structural problems have really limited the ability of the sector to grow and innovate. And I feel that the negative effects of bad regulation have overweighed the limits of regulation to stop corruption. So the changes that we have to think about in terms of regulation going forward, in my view, we have to be very bold in defining how much regulation we want and what regulation to do should do for the sector. And that is something on which we as a community need to really apply our minds. We have to stop regulation, approaching the question of regulation as if it is a stick by which we are going to beat private education institutions, and instead think about how can regulation be kept minimal so that it fosters innovation in the sector. And we have to think about this seriously, because our work, our academic work is very young, and knowledge about how teachers are produced is constantly being generated, and there's a lot of innovation which is possible. In fact, the NEP is calling for the return to the 1 year B.Ed, the ODL model in B.Ed. How are we going to attempt any of these without a lot of innovation to take place in the sector? So the approach to regulation must change. Along with this, then we have to think, if NCT has to convert itself into a professional standard setting body, what should it do? And I'm reminded that this raises the fundamental question of what is the profession which needs regulation and standards. Let us remember that the profession is the profession of teaching in school teaching. Teacher education is not a profession. Teacher education is a derivative activity to prepare teachers. So the professional is the teacher and the profession is teaching. And NCT will have to probably be renamed as the National Council for Teachers and Teaching. And it will have to learn how to set standards for teachers and teaching, and really stop trying to control teacher education and possibly even MEd, because if we stop to think about it, unlike higher degrees in medicine, MEd is not a higher degree in teaching. Very often it is really about teacher education and not about teaching itself. So we really have to rethink fundamentally the whole question of what are the standards to be prepared for, and how will they apply, which profession will they apply to. In order to be able to do this, NCT itself will have to be reconstituted. I'm going to call this now the National Council for Teachers and Teaching. We will have to have much more representation from the teaching community itself. We will have to have award-winning teachers, school leaders, teachers from physical education, vocational education, music education, art and craft education. All the kinds of professionals of teaching need to find expression and representation in the National Council on Teachers and Teaching, along with teacher educators. So it cannot be a body primarily about teacher education. It'll have to be a body about teachers and teaching. In addition, in my view, the National Council will also have to look at standards for not just teaching and for all these kinds of teachers, music teachers, art teachers. We'll have to have standards for all these kinds of teaching activities. We will also need to have standards for many of the quasi-teaching activities which are becoming important in school. For example, lab attenders, ICT attenders, school counselors, school social workers. These are all the kind of paraprofessionals around the work of teaching, which the NEP itself is calling upon as important members of the school community. So the school community is going to be diverse. It's going to have many more kinds of teachers in it, and it's going to have many more kinds of roles other than teaching, which are going to shape the school as a space which offers very holistic services to students. And the National Council will have to think of this holistic school as a holistic space and develop standards for the entire holistic activities that need to take place in the space of schools. But so there are definite challenges as far as the transformation of the regulatory body is concerned and what it should be doing going forward. We've already begun some work in this direction at the Tata Institute. We've begun a series of roundtables to open up discussion with the professional community to arrive at much more consensus on issues for which we should commonly advocate. And we've also begun work to gather evidence for change, because evidence-based policy is the need of the hour. I want to conclude by just sharing with you some reflections on what we could do together as a professional community. It will be really wonderful if across the country, we at the TISS are able to work with you on questions of how do we strengthen diets and bites with the the innovative 4-year teacher education program. We would be very happy to collaboratively work on finding local models to offer high quality teacher education at the diets and the bites. We would be very happy to work together on faculty-based research, faculty development, which is research-based, because many of us would like to do meaningful research and see that as a way of faculty development. And we believe in a research-based approach to faculty development. And finally, I also hope that going down the line, many institutions like us, we can come together in a consortium so that we can together offer online CPD and adapt resources to local conditions and local languages. And I hope that we will, having initiated such a discussion, we can go down the line and interact with each other to convert some of these ideas into actualities so that together we can really strengthen this important professional activity, which is of key importance for national development and is certainly the core of transformation as envisioned by the NEP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. This is very much useful and more informative for us. And thank you for your patience in explaining each and everything for us about all these things. Gratitude is all emotions. I cordially invite Dr. P. Subramanian, Assistant Professor TNTU, to propose the vote of thanks.
May I audible, Augustine, sir?
Yes, yes, ma. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all. So we, the organizing team of Center for Capacity Building Programs for School Teachers of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, give it a great privilege and honor to propose a hearty vote of thanks in this national webinar on new education policy with regard to teacher education, challenges and opportunities. At the outset, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Panchanatham, sir. He is always motivating us to do a lot of programs during this lockdown period. Under the able leadership and guidance of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University is moving towards excellence. All the teaching and non-teaching faculties of our university, under the able leadership of our Honorable Vice Chancellors, are doing very well, and we are feeling a conducive atmosphere for their harmonious development. So such a wonderful Vice Chancellor we are all having. We are very much privileged to have our Vice Chancellor for our university. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver the presidential address in this national webinar. We wholeheartedly thank you, sir. And I must thank the most respected Registrar Sir of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University for giving the necessary permission to organize this webinar. Thank you, sir. And I must thank the Dean of Faculty, Controller of Examinations of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University for taking efficient leadership of organizing this webinar. Thank you, sir. And I must thank the Professor and Head of Department of Educational Planning and Administration, the IKC Director, the Director for Center for National and International Academic Collaborations, and Tamil Nadu representative to NCT SRC. Yes, he is none other than Professor S. Mani, sir. He is known for his commanding power over the language he is using. Such a wonderful speech that he gave, and we are really thankful to you, sir, for giving a very wonderful inaugural address. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver the inaugural address. You have done a very great job. Your points are well taken with regard to the teacher education about the new education policy. Thank you, sir. And I must thank the vibrant and dynamic resource person of today's webinar, Professor Batma Sarangabani. Yes, madam has done a very great job. We have learned so many new things with regard to teacher education, about new education policy. Ma'am, you have done a very great job. And I assure you, ma'am, all the participants have taken notes of your presentation, and definitely they will bring, and definitely they will reflect your ideas in the days to come. And we wholeheartedly thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation to present your ideas about the new education policy in relation to teacher education. We wholeheartedly thank you, ma'am. We are delighted by your presence, and we are really enjoyed your lecture. Thank you, ma'am. And I must thank the dynamic coordinator for Center for Capacity Building Programs for School Teachers. She is none other than Dr. T. Sivasati Rajamal, madam. A lady is known for her tireless efforts towards organizing a series of webinars during this pandemic period. Thank you, ma'am, for taking efficient leadership towards organizing this historically important webinar. Thank you, ma'am. And I must thank my dear friend, would be Dr. S. Balamurugan, sir, for his contribution towards successful completion of any event from this center. He is also one of the member of this Center for Capacity Building Programs for School Teachers. Thank you so much, sir, for introducing the chief guest in your own style. Thank you so much, sir. And I must thank all the organizing committee members. The successful completion of any event depends upon the teamwork. We are all having a very good team consisting of Dr. Joseph Catherine, Dr. Mohan, Deputy Registrar of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, Mr. K.S. Anbuselvam, sir, Mr. R. Tirupati, sir, Dr. K. Ratiswari, madam, Dr. T. Premalada, madam, Dr. S. Aroki Elizabeth Josephine, madam, Dr. S. Vijayalakshmi, madam, Mr. S. Aroki Sami, sir, and the host of this webinar, Mr. J.T. Agustin Jabakumar. Without them, this webinar is not possible. Without them, this webinar cannot be a successful one. Thank you all for your wonderful support and for your wonderful contribution towards successful completion of this webinar. And I must thank all the teaching and non-teaching faculties of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University for their wonderful support and encouragement towards completion of any webinar in GMT. And last but not least, I'm very proud to say that we had a wonderful participants. We had a wonderful humpty number of participants throughout our webinar. So today also we have a number of participants, n number of participants in our webinar. The successful completion of any webinar depends upon the active participation of the participants. So in this regard, I wholeheartedly thank you all the participants for your complete patience and complete cooperation till the end of this webinar. Once again, I thank one and all gathered here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the words of gratitude.
Thank you, sir.
On regards of capacity building program, we thank everyone who took part in this national seminar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Mani, sir.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you.
Thank you, all the organizing members. Thank you, all the participants. Happy Deepavali to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Wish you the same. Thank
Happy
you.
Diwali to all of you. Enjoy life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Diwali. Same to you all.
Happy Diwali, ma'am. Happy Diwali, ma'am. Happy Diwali to all.
Happy Diwali, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. See the same.
Happy Diwali to all.
Thank you. Dr. Subramanian, sir. Feedback from what would you like?
Happy Diwali to all.
Yes, ma'am.
Back home, madam.
I can do it, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very
Sir,
much.
Pradeep, sir. How are you, sir?
Madam. How are you, madam? How are you?
Fine.
How are you?
Fine, sir.
Okay, nice program.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, once again, feedback form, please.
Yes, sir. Please wait.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Shivashakti ma'am. Wonderful organization. Wonderful
Good evening, Professor.
Wonderful organization.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Good.
Shivashakti madam, hello.
Sir, போட்டிங்களா?
Already it was posted, ma'am. Already it was posted.
I know that, but she's left, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
So இப்போ participants கேட்டிட்டு இருக்காங்க இப்போ. அதனால தான் உங்களுக்கு.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
எனக்கு மெயில்ல இருந்து
One second I will post, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
One second I will post. Okay.
Network problem. Due to network problem.
Okay, sir. No issue.
That's
மேம் போஸ்ட் பண்ணுங்க. இன்னும் கேட்டிட்டு இருக்காங்க மேம். உள்ள இருக்கீங்களா? வந்துட்டீங்களா வெளியில? போட்டுட்டீங்க, பட் இன்னும் கேட்டுட்டு இருக்காங்க பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ். வாங்க.
மேடம் நான் போஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டேன். மேடம் சிவசக்தி மேடம்.
ஓகே சார்.
நான் போஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டேன்.
கொஞ்சம் ஒரு 2 minutes போஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். ஒரு 2 minutes.
ஓகே மேடம். நான் கண்டினியூஸா போஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். ஓகே மேடம். ஓகே. Thank you. மேம் ஓகே மேம். சுப்பிரமணியன் சார் பாத்துக்கிறார். Thank you மேம். Thank you. சுப்பு சார் போடுறாங்க. Thank you மேம்.
மேடம் thank you மேம்.
போட்டீங்க. ஓகே மேம். Thank you. சார் ப்ரொஃபசர் ஜான் லாரன்ஸ் சார் லேட்டா வந்துட்டீங்களா? இல்ல ஃபுல்லா
மெயில்ல வரும்
சார். அன்மியூட் பண்ணுங்க ப்ரொஃபசர் லாரன்ஸ் சார் ப்ளீஸ்.
அங்க I was there in YouTube.